Hey guys, welcome to the GSL Code S Tasteless Enartosis here. We're still in the round of 16.
We are indeed.
How are you doing, buddy?
Well, Tasteless, today I'm super excited to see some innovation out of Jack G.
Yeah, we have two Terrans today. By the way, for what we have so far for the makeup of the round of 8, as you can see, it's going to be Deer against Trap, Protoss versus Protoss.
Soul versus Soul.
Yeah, teammate versus teammate. And then we're going to have, it just went off screen.
Well, it's a ZVP matchup. It's going to be Sulky going up against Rain, which is absolute madness.
Yes.
That's a good match, right? That could be a finals easily, both champions.
And, you know, what's exciting about this so far is we're halfway through the round of 16. Innovation playing today. A lot of people are saying he's the best player in the whole world.
After today, we're going to be half of the way through the second half of the round of 16.
I think, Innovation today, I'm expecting him to get out, and I'm actually betting on Jock as well.
Oh, wow.
I think two Terrans coming through here today.
Before we talk too much more about that, make sure you check out this little Facebook event that we have for JOGUNSHOP. That is our sponsor here at the GSL, so make sure you go check that out. I bet you not that many people have entered, and you can win some amazing prizes there.
Yeah, and they got some great clothing there as well.
The card necklace and the casual cross bag are both up for grabs.
Don't miss out.
People haven't won those yet, so you still have a chance.
Yes. Again, Code S is back here. We had a while off here for Korean Thanksgiving, so we have a whole bunch of matches here packed through this week. We don't normally have casts this back-to-back. We have another one on Sunday as well.
Yeah, and that's an afternoon cast.
Yeah,
it's like a 1 p.m., I think.
If you're a diehard GSL fan, or maybe you're just going to be up and awake or free at that point in time on Sunday, that's an opportunity for you to watch live if you're somebody who normally watches the VODs.
If you're in America right now watching this on a VOD, in fact, you might want to go and see the live button on GOMTV.net because we might actually be casting right now live because you were watching the VOD at your normal VOD time.
That's actually very true. So definitely don't miss out on that. And by the time we're done with Sunday, we're already going to be in the round of 8.
It's whipping by right now.
By the way, Protoss is doing really well this time around.
Yeah, it seriously is. A lot of Protoss is getting deep so far, 3 getting out. We'll see if another one can get out today. We'll see how many are in the round of 8. I feel like it might be 3. It might even hit 4, though, and that would be huge.
Yeah, well, historically, if you haven't followed the GSL for as long as we've been doing it, we've been doing this for over 3 years now, the Protosses just don't tend to produce the results that, for instance, the Terrans have historically.
That's very true. Korean Terrans always have been just a different level than anything else.
More of them dominating.
Yes.
With Protoss in Starcraft 2, for instance, it's normally maybe 1 to 3 that are powerhouses that do very well. I'm not saying Protosses don't win. I mean, Parting won last year's World Championship.
That's true.
But generally speaking, we don't quite see them pack as many results. We don't. When we get a Final Four, we don't normally have something like 3 Protosses in it, for instance.
Just about never.
So check out the Blizzard event, the Back to School event.
That's right, Back to School. StarCraft makes you smarter, so you better be playing it and getting your portraits and whatnot.
That's actually a fact, too. There were a bunch of studies released that StarCraft 2 is the game that is good for your brain. Granted, there are probably many games that are good for your brain. I think when you look at something like StarCraft 2, it's hard to beat that. It's just so challenging. StarCraft as a game overall is very taxing for your memory, concentration, building mechanical skills.
It's the most wonderfully frustrating thing you'll ever do.
We always talk about this. StarCraft's like the game that makes us happy, but also kind of makes us sad because
I had that day today, Tasteless. I went like 2-8, and I was streaming too, which made it even worse. It was just terrible games today for me.
It's so fun, but when you have a day where you lose like 10 games in a row, I mean,
nothing feels worse. You're just like, oh.
The day feels like a failure. Mm-hmm. It feels like you actually are behind now and everything because you had this entire day to play and you sucked that day and couldn't get the results. But when you win, it is the best feeling in the whole world.
That's true. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, I mean, I'm pretty happy all the time anyways. Why would I want to make myself upset by possibly losing at StarCraft? And to that I say, stop being such a coward. Man up, play the hardest game in the world.
It is. And, there's nothing.
Go on that emotional roller coaster that StarCraft provides many of us.
Man, how long have we been playing StarCraft?
I have been playing.
StarCraft 1 came out
1999 or 98, something
98,
like that.
I think.
I've been playing since basically the beginning.
Yeah,
not
same.
the day it came out, but very.
So I've been playing
close.
StarCraft for exactly half of my life.
98 to here. It's 2013. Yeah, almost. Yeah, wait. Yeah, I guess that is true.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Damn.
All right, we're going to take a look at our players today. Check it out. And we'll be bringing them out now. Now, only 2 of these 4 will be advancing to the round of 8. We don't know which 2 that'll be, but the other 2 obviously will be knocked out of CODAS and have to wait until the next time we host this tournament.
Well,
and they'll be going into their respective booths now.
So you said Innovation Jockey for you?
Yeah.
Well, I think Innovation is going to be one that everybody chooses, really. He's so good.
Yeah, well,
it's hard for me to say exactly who's going to be able to come out of here.
With Innovation, I would be so shocked if he didn't get out. Now, he did lose to DRG in his previous group, which was a surprise, but DRG at this point in time looked like he had some of the best CBT in the entire world. But in general, just Innovation is such a flawless player. This is the guy who, I know we see a lot of SCV timings for all ends. This guy actually just figures out when he's ahead after several engagements and will pull his SCVs and attack anyways.
Yeah,
Up here against Super, I think this is going to be a 2-0. What do you think?
He's actually rather predictable in that way, which means he can be stopped. For instance, yesterday in GSTL, he did get stopped by... Why can't I think of his name? Oh my god, this is so funny. It starts with an S. Anyways, he got stopped by an MVP Protoss. Because Innovation is kind of predictable. Like, he does SCV pulls almost all the time. His favorite one is the 3 Ghost with 1/1 upgrades. And in fact, it's so funny. I've gone through so many Innovation TVPs. I think I've watched basically every Innovation game ever. And you can see the difference. Like, if he doesn't SCV pull, he doesn't win as much. And he SCV pulled yesterday, but it was one of those 1 Colossus into Storm fake-out builds.
Yeah.
And as soon as he saw SCVs pulled, he added like 7 cannons.
And from there, you're
and just trashed it with Psystorm. Like, it was well done. But the thing is, will Super try to trick him like that? Fresh off of a loss like that, will Innovation take the bait?
Well, Innovation's also done a lot of very aggressive strats, although we can't see that as much against Zerg here. But, for instance, TVT, he's been very scary. I'm really hoping we can get some Innovation versus Jockji up here. Because, Jockji, I feel like, is the forgotten champion.
He is the forgotten
People
champion.
forget this guy actually won the GSL CODAS.
Him and Seed.
I would say Jockji's more forgotten than Seed even.
Really? Okay. I feel like they are both, going to high-five in the Hall of Forgotten Heroes right next to the door to Valhalla,
Well, I mean, Jockji, he won in a huge upset and played very well, but then he kind of just disappeared.
He disappeared. Yeah, he's in much better circumstances now, though. NS Hoso, while it actually fostered a lot of great talent, it never really had a lot of money. It never really did all that well overall. I wonder if the team atmosphere had something to do with it. Now he's on My Insanity. It's like a more stable team. It's got a good and growing list of players. I don't know. I feel like maybe his mind is more at ease because he's definitely playing better StarCraft than we've seen in a while.
Do you think there's the chance that even Super will even win one game here?
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. Super, he can be pretty deadly. Like, he did end up beating Bomber in the last round, but I feel like a big chunk of that was Bomber not playing his best. You know how Bomber goes. He's either got it or he doesn't on a given day.
Yeah. Well, one thing about when you watch Bomber play, he's the guy that will always land mules and try to nuke himself and do things like that. And I think it's got a characteristic of this guy is really up and down.
Yeah, very true. Well, I think Innovation probably will take a Tasteless, but if Super took a game, I wouldn't be too surprised. If he actually took the series, I would be pretty surprised, because I think Innovation's TVP is pretty damn good. Not the #1 TVP in the world, but
it's solid enough. But, like you were saying, there's so many Innovation games out there. You've seen so many of them. There's a lot for Super to study off of.
That's true.
And it looks like it's time to begin our first game here in our first best of 3. The winner of this series goes on to the winner's match and is that much closer to getting into the round of 8 here in the GSL CODAS.
can tell I'm excited by the way my heart is beating. I'm gonna need a riot squad to help control my breathing. Communicating with faces like I can hear speaking.
In the bottom left starting location, quickly becoming the best player in the world. He is.
Acer Innovation.
And in the upper left, the rookie of this group. He is.
MVP Super.
Well, Super. If you're like, who's Super again? It's Vampire from MVP.
Yeah, he's another one of these players that did a name change.
Yeah, and he was the one thing that I always think of when I think of him is way back in the days when Daybreak wasn't completely an overused map. He was doing cool like charge builds against Zerg and whatnot. Some really neat.
Yeah.
He was like, and the thing is that became really popular a couple months after he actually kind of started it, doing charge builds. So a neat player, definitely has his own bag of tricks and whatnot. Is it enough to take out Innovation though?
This is a tough opening match here for somebody like Super here, going up against somebody like Innovation.
Especially when Innovation opens like this, he's definitely going with an early Reaper here. So, I feel like that's an opening that you're going to use, especially on a map like this, especially against a player like this, where Super's kind of an unknown quantity. He doesn't really know what Super has planned for him. It could be a macro game, could be an all-in. May as well grab that quick Reaper.
Yeah, and just getting some of that scouting in there. Innovation, you got to also remember, actually, hold that thought here. Let's just talk about this map for a second, since we have so many new maps this season. This map's kind of funky if you're both holding the left side of the map. You got two ways to get to your opponent's base. The SCV pull is actually, going to be a little bit awkward coming around the corner if he does opt to do something like that. Protoss would, or, depending on how they expand, out here, right where this SCV is actually scouting by, be a good place to arc out your army.
Sure.
Colossi, the Zealots, get the Psy Storms off, if you can.
Well, time to see what these guys have planned for us, Tasteless. Reaper, expand exactly as you would expect.
This has been getting more and more popular lately as well.
Innovation, this is kind of a cool move right there. He forces the finishing of the Zealot by, not 100% finishes. I guess you don't necessarily have to, but still, I like that, The eBay blocks are always nice, but Protosses are really on top of making sure to check for that before they cancel.
Looks like he might be able to get the first probe. No, Mothership zones out the Reaper, and the Reaper will now hop outside of the main. Meanwhile, Innovation's command center is about halfway done. And it looks like you see he's trying to juke and jive and maybe get inside here. He's now regen fully. And looks like he actually will.
Yeah, he'll get in for another scout
not
here.
Much to see, however.
No, not so much at all.
Did you shoot the pylon there? Did I see that correctly?
Why not? Everything heals up. It's fine.
Exactly.
No harm, no foul.
So he's going to go ahead and go out now and park that Reaper outside.
Now, would you suggest, knowing that Innovation is an SCV puller, would you suggest that Super goes for Colossus Tech, or do you think he should try something else?
I would try something else. No, it depends on how many Colossi he opts to get. I do like some of the stuff we've seen where people hallucinate Colossi.
Oh, that's pretty cute, yeah.
And then, tech into Princess Storm a little bit faster. If you have that Psy Storm, the SCV pull is no longer effective, really.
Yeah,
because everything just melts.
When you start getting, 5-6 Psy Storms, then any attack into you is going to be pretty ill-fated.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like Protosses should just be hallucinating Colossi all the time now, because the metagame is so heavy on SCV pulls.
That's true.
That if the Terran's entirely invested in one big attack that is hinged on them having a better unit comp than you, if you just give them false information that they probably, no matter what, when you're Terran, I don't know what happens to you, but when I see Colossus, I automatically just start making the Vikings. I'm like, okay, if you can get him to make, let's say, 2, 4, even 6 Vikings before that big attack, you're probably going to win if it's an all-in.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're much more likely to hold. That's a good catch right there, killing off that early Stalker, especially since it looks like Super is planning to go for Blink Colossus. That's what it's looking like. This first little poke coming in. this is just going to be to force the Nexus Cannon, which it does accomplish.
And this is a good way to control the Protos's, the Mothership Core, rather, its energy. Mm-hmm. You don't want that to have the ability to, the Nexus Cannon end Time Warp or anything like that. You want to make sure that it can just completely have that low on energy at any point in time.
Well, here we are, Tasteless. He's getting the Twilight. It does look like it will be a Blink Colossus build, whereas Innovation getting that quick stim, getting his Starport up, and we'll see if he goes for like his very standard go into a third command center, bunch of racks, is 1-1, 3 ghosts, SCV pull, kill your opponent.
It looks like it could be shaping up for that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely something Innovation opens up with quite often.
Innovation has a clear idea now of what exactly the Protoss is going to be up to, what the tech route has been so far. He's actually fine with this Reaper, even if he loses it. It looks like he may be trying to come up here for another poke again.
If he can catch something, for instance, if he gets that Mothership Core, that's a nice little victory.
Yep, and I was about to say that if it would not hurt to scan his army right above that, since there's always an observer after an engagement like that. After you trigger the Mothership Core, Protoss basically always have an observer over you.
That is very true, Tasteless. Getting that, as well as forcing another spellcast out of that Mothership Core. He's lost like 2 Marines and a Reaper so far this game. This has all been very efficient by Innovation. But that doesn't mean that Super's like behind or anything.
Now,
like
Innovation got the second observer here, too. There's, one more out here?
He has 2 left total. I'm not sure
where
they are.
I believe the other one's in the center left.
Oh, could be. For this game, we do not have a PC.
Yeah, we have some tech problems here, so hopefully that'll be resolved by the next game here. We're basically just casting this up, what we see on the screen right now. Now, here comes the Medivacs. The observer did spot that. Is Super going to be ready to intercept? Whoops, he accidentally jumped the Marauder out there in the low ground.
Well, looks like everything going to be okay for now. He's not going to take any damage yet. Ooh, look at that, an Immortal getting started. This is quite interesting to be adding an Immortal at this point. Because Innovation's taking his 30s, adding his 2 racks. We'll see. He should be adding the Ghost Academy any second now. And that'll tell us that very likely he's going to go for his really standard play.
Almost dropping that for a second.
Viking production has started.
And I like that Immortal, actually.
Yeah?
That's pretty cool.
Well, I'm glad you like it. Do you like the second one as well?
I think it's okay, actually.
Yeah.
Because we see that the Viking production is started. He might be able to control now, or get the Protoss rather, the Terran rather, into a position where he's going to not have the right army comp here for this potential big all-in. By the way, third base up and running now.
Whoa, here comes a big attack here by Innovation, trying to see if he can catch him off guard, but good micro there by Super, pulling back.
I'm surprised. I thought he was going to lose that sentry there in the front. Now, if you notice, this is a not sentry-heavy Protoss army here. It's not a situation where you get a bunch of force fields. You get to really pick your fights.
That's true, and in fact, this is a really funny situation because he skipped Thermal Lance, as far as I can tell. So this is like the 1 Colossus fake out, but instead it's a 2 Colossus fake out, and instead of going High Templars, he's going Immortals. I don't really quite get it, because the splash damage is really lackluster in this army. Like, if Innovation pulled SCVs and went kind of soon here, not quite yet, but reasonably soon, I feel like that would be kind of hard to stop.
I think so.
Immortals don't do that well against SCVs, believe it or not.
Blinking in there. Now, there is that one observer parked in the middle of the bottom left, in between the 4th base for Terran and the watchtower. So if he does get SCVs pulled, hold that thought though. Another engagement coming up here now. Nice kiting. The Colossus now coming back here. He does have some more sentries, so he can put up some force fields right now.
And you know what? This is amazing micro right now by Innovation, taking out both of the Colossi. Those 3 Immortals going to work on some of these Marauders.
But the Immortals now are going to take all the damage, and the Mule gets landed, and that's it. GG. Very straightforward win from Innovation.
Well, I don't really understand what that build was from Super. I was waiting.
I was giving it a lot more credit than I was like, okay, cool, he gets it. This must be something that we're all going to learn from.
Well,
apparently not.
Yeah, the Immortal is a cool unit.
I didn't think it was going to get to 3rd base that quickly either. Off just the Immortals like that.
If you're going to get Immortals early on, I feel like you have to do it with High Templar tech.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you want Immortals in your army, it's going to have to be later on once you have a good amount of Colossi. But skipping Thermalance, only having 2 Colossi, focusing on Stalkers and making Immortals, like, just this... I don't know, it seemed discombobulated to me, Tasis.
Well, it's funny because, you get some sentries later on, they don't have any energy really. The order is all wrong. There's like a natural progression to attacking with Protoss.
Super has...
And that wasn't it.
Super has a kind of funny way of playing. Definitely marches to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah.
Just the thing is, I feel like that was a bit offbeat. I think he needs to tune it a little bit because against Innovation, you're not going to be able to screw around. Yeah, you're going to have to know your stuff against Innovation. You're going to have to hit all your timings perfectly. Well, know exactly how much splash you need and all that.
There's nothing fancy about what Innovation did back there.
No, nothing
at all. He just macroed up and got a third base at a normal time, was upgrading steadily, identified the unit comp of Super, stemmed and attacked in and won.
And it wasn't even an SCV pull. If it were, it would have been even more one-sided.
Yeah.
Innovation, didn't even pull them. He kind of saw what was going on. It's like, the Immortals, I'm so confused. If you do get them early, it's either for a bust or because you went Templar.
Yeah.
This is weird with 2 unranged Colossi.
All right, looks like it's time for game number 2. Our map is going to be Whirlwind. Let's see if Super can turn this around or if Innovation closes this out.
You can tell I'm excited for the way